Hello, my name is Robin Hencke. Welcome to my presentation on interpersonal communication. In this presentation, I will discuss my primary communication goal, what it means to me to enlarge the conversation, and how my behavioral blend, listening style, and interpersonal communication history affect the way I communicate today. In addition, I will discuss internal and external obstacles to my listening and my solution to these obstacles. To conclude, I will discuss the steps necessary for me to successfully actualize my primary communication goal. My primary communication goal is to become an effective listener in order for me to become a well-rounded and more effective communicator in my personal and professional relationships. What this means for my personal relationships is that they will become more meaningful. What it means to my professional relationships is that greater trust will be built in the relationships and my clients will be assured that I am a safe place for them to share their lives. Part of the process is understanding what it means to communicate interpersonally. Stewart suggests that interpersonal communication is the type or kind of communication that happens when the people involved talk and listen in ways that maximize the presence of the personal. For me, maximizing the personal means I have to enlarge the conversation. In order for me to enlarge the conversation, I have to pinpoint the positive and negative elements of my communication style, bolster up the positives, and get rid of the negatives. The positive and negative elements of my communication style are affected in part by my behavioral blend. My behavioral blend is a high CS. What that means is I am a combination of the C and S personality types. According to Carbonell, my CS behavioral blend means that I am accuracy and detail oriented while at the same time being people oriented. My CS behavioral blend has a positive and negative effect on my listening style. My listening style is that of an active listener. The positive people-oriented S side of my behavioral blend means that for the most part, I focus and concentrate on the speaker and what he or she is saying. The negative side of the C personality, being detail and accuracy oriented, has a tendency to cause me to focus only on what the speaker is saying, missing out on the main message because I am not focusing in on what the speaker is also trying to communicate through facial expressions, tone of voice, and body language. This makes me what Burley Allen calls a level 2 listener, where I am listening with the intent of making a response. Where I need to be is what Peterson describes as someone who listens into the lives of others. What this means is that I listen to others in such a way that they feel comfortable and secure with me, and they ask me to become a part of their lives. In addition to my behavioral blend and listening style, my interpersonal communication history has affected the way I listen today. An example from my childhood would be that I am the youngest of 6 children that was a very busy household, which meant my parents did not have time always to listen to a long drawn-out story, which meant conversation was often cut short and one had to come to the point quickly. This is translated into my adult life in that there are times when I find myself mentally cutting off the speaker who has not come to the point because I'm ready to move on. Another aspect affecting my listening is my motives. What is it that I want from the speaker? Am I listening intently to the speaker, hoping that I will influence him or her to do something for me? Or am I listening to the speaker because I'm genuinely interested in what he or she has to say? Adding to behavioral blend, listening style, and interpersonal communication history are internal and external obstacles to my listening. One internal obstacle to my listening is that there are times when my mind wanders off onto the other things that I need to do. The solution to this obstacle is to intentionally focus on the speaker and what he or she is communicating, remembering that in that moment, the speaker is what is important and not necessarily the things I have to do. An external obstacle to my listening is other people moving about in the room. When I am engaged in conversation and there are other people milling about in the room, I have a tendency to shift my focus from the speaker to what else is going on in the room. The solution to this obstacle is once again to be intentional, keeping my focus on the speaker and what he or she is communicating, remembering again that it is in that moment that the speaker and what is being communicated is the most important, not necessarily what's taking place in the room. Having realized the positive and negative aspects of my communication has enabled me to develop a plan for reaching my primary communication goal. The first step is to every day be intentional in my listening and speaking in all of my conversations, remembering that the conversation is the relationship. The second step is for me to add one new listening skill and speaking skill to my conversations every day. The third step is for me to take opportunities to teach others the skills that I have learned in speaking and listening to help them improve their communication skills. By teaching others what I have learned, I become proficient in executing these skills, and the more proficient I become in executing these skills, the more natural they become in my conversations. The more natural they become in my conversations, the better communicator I become.